Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sally Kirkland. We have small chairs. You want to stand or you want to sit?
No, I want to stand.
Yeah, stand. There you go. Who wants to sit? Not me.
Are you all filmmakers and actors and writers and directors?
Yes.
That's great. Good for you.
Now, Sally, she just, bless her heart, she just came down for Sacramento?
Yeah, I was
Just flew in.
filming. I filmed until 1:45 today.
Yeah,
Got on the plane and came here
straight here.
to be with you all.
That's it. And listen, a lot of, she has a great body of work, but you gotta rent Anna at some point, because that's the movie that she got the Academy Award nomination for and won a Golden Globe. And
My
it's
name is
incredible.
Anna Rokova. I come from Prague, Czechoslovakia. What you want? I don't want to talk about my personal life. You give me the script. I'm an actress. 25 years I've been acting. How's that?
Yeah. That's the character in the movie. That was great. I love that. That was awesome. How have you been? You all right?
I've been great. Thank
It's
you.
good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a
Good to
while.
see you. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. So when you first started out, they said you grew up like in a showbiz family. And what was interesting about that is that, you knew Andy Warhol. You were hanging out with Andy Warhol?
1964, 65.
Yeah, tell me some stories about that.
Andy. Well, we were all doing too much drugs. Andy. What did they say about the 60s? If you remember, you weren't there.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Andy had a crush on my mother, who was fashion editor of Life magazine, and because he had a crush on her, and they would go to Studio 54 all together all the time, I got to meet him. And I was studying with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, and so to me, all these actors with Andy Warhol were underground, untrained. I couldn't hang out with them possibly. They didn't pay their dues. And so when he said to me, I have a camera and a recorder, can I photograph you and record you? I said, Andy, don't take this the wrong way. Now, mind you, no one knew who Andy Warhol was back then in 1964, not really. He said, I'd like to interview you. And I said, but I don't want to be an underground actor. I'm so proud of being a member of the Actors Studio and years of studying with Lee Strasberg and member of the 3 unions. I can't. So I turned Andy Warhol down. Now, had I known
Had you known he'd be Andy Warhol?
that he'd be Andy Warhol,
Yeah.
but he did manage to put me in something called 13 Most Beautiful Women with Shaw Manhattan, Edie Sedgwick, and Baby Jane Holzer, and Ultraviolet, and all sorts of wonderful ladies. And he was, I guess, not the first person to put me in front of a camera, but the first person of note. He said, no, Sally, I want you to sit here for 5 minutes. I'm going to leave the room, and don't move a muscle. And I thought to myself, all these years I've been training, and he's telling me not to do anything, to do nothing. So I sat there in the chair, and I did an emotional recall, and suddenly the tears started coming down my face. And I didn't do anything. I didn't move a muscle, but the tears came. And so it was my way of being an above-ground actor in an underground world. And I think the film now is at the Modern Museum of Art. I don't know how you can easily see it, but that was Andy. And my mother gave him his first publicity in the pages of Life when he was doing storefronts at Lord & Taylor.
And the Campbell soup can.
The Campbell soup can was in the background, and Andy was in the foreground. And so, that was his first publicity. So my mother could do no wrong with him. Then I was lucky because I became a member of the La Mama troupe in New York. And in 1968, I became the first nude actress in American theater.
Bless your little heart.
Before hair, before Au Calcutta. And the New York Times called me up and they said, Miss Kirkland, you just did Shakespeare in the Park. What are you doing, taking off your clothes? And I said, well, I'm opposed to the Vietnam War, and you can't carry a gun on a naked body. And that went down in the history books.
I like that.
And I went further on to say that I was a painter and I painted women nude, and I felt women should be proud of their bodies no matter what they were. and that I was a dancer, and I loved Isadora Duncan. And so that all went in the history book somehow.
Yeah.
And then the Sting, they called me to do The Way We Were in the Sting, which you just saw glimpses of. And so I came to Los Angeles, and I found my spiritual path here, something called the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness. And I didn't want to go back to New York. I thought I'd found myself here.
That was the first big Hollywood movie you did, was The Sting?
The Way We Were, and then the Sting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was in 1973 or something.
Now, I've seen pictures back in New York with you and like Robert De Niro, I think. Or just,
Yeah.
You were hanging out with him, right?
Yeah, I used to date him long about 1968, 69. None of you were born, right?
Yes, none of us.
Hey, you, Steve. I saw one gentleman there, and 1, 2, 3, the fifth row with the beard. You were born. Bobby De Niro was the shyest person I ever met in my life. On our first date, he couldn't look at me, he would look at the ground, and he gave me flowers looking at the ground. And we went to see his movie Greetings, which some of you film directors probably know.
It's called Greetings.
Greetings, Brian De Palma.
Oh, okay.
And afterwards I said, who did you study with? You're brilliant. And he said, Stella Adler. And I said, would you come with me to the Actors Studio to meet Lee Strasberg? And he said, well, maybe, okay. And so I introduced him to Shelley Winters. Maybe some of you are old enough to remember Shelley Winters. Yeah. She's my godmother, and she kind of helped.
Shelley Winters is your
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she took me in when I was 18.
Yeah.
I lived with her in New York and LA, and I introduced Bobby to Shelley, and he introduced all of us to Roger Corman, and Bloody Mama happened with Shelley and Bobby. And then I did a thing with Al Pacino called Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie? And I did my first scene for Lee Strasberg with Dustin Hoffman. So you get the idea. I was sort of in a generation of actors at the Actors Studio where it was just really exciting to be there. Paul Newman would drop in with Geraldine Page, and Rip Torn and Geraldine Page, and Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman. And I've been acting 58 years. I started making money when I was 17.
Yeah.
Didn't go to college. And now I've done 200, and today will be the 242nd movie.
That's amazing. So when you were looking back now, what do you think was like your favorite moment? Is there a time?
Anna.
Yeah.
You know, he was looking, I don't know what he was looking for, but I became such a pest. I sent him flowers, I sent him, they didn't have
Lobbying
checks.
for the role.
Lobbying for the role. For weeks and weeks, I learned my Czechoslovakian accent, but it became Polish to Czech. And then I've been teaching acting for 30-something years, and so I was going to teach a class with 100 Aussie actors in Sydney, Australia. So I went to the airport to leave for Australia to teach, and I got a call that he wanted to do the final screen test. And I said, Jurek, I have to go. These kids have put their money down months ago. And he said, I thought you wanted this part. I said, I do want this part. Please wait for me. And I went to Australia and taught 100 kids and came back and did an audition and got the part.
Yeah.
Which says something, doesn't it, about holding your commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. You maintained your integrity.
I maintain my integrity.
Yes.
And
In that year, I mean, she was up against
Glenn
Sharon
Close,
Moonstruck, Lynn Close, what Fatal Attraction?
Fatal Attraction,
yeah.
Meryl Streep in Ironweed, and Holly Hunter in Broadcast News.
Broadcasting. Isn't that amazing? So she won the Golden Globe against that competition.
The first thing I won was the LA Film Critics Circle Award, which was nice to have the critics. And then the Golden Globe, and then the Independent Spirit Award. You all know that. You all should know that. You want to become a member of the Independent Spirit Project, whatever it's called. You really want to become a member of that. They have all sorts of resources for free for young. He's looking at his
No,
watch.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I saw it.
No,
We'll wrap this up.
No, I know, I'm sorry.
I know you have all these awards to give
No,
out.
I did, I'm sorry. I was just,
okay.
I should have done it like this, I should have known.
I just want to say, don't give up. Don't give up. No
No.
matter what, don't give up. And find something else you love to do besides film. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it's painting. And whenever I would get depressed because I was out of work too long, I was just painting another painting.
Do you ever sell any of your paintings?
Yeah, I've sold
Yes.
a lot of paintings.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was a
Do
kid,
you have showings
when
in
I was-
galleries? Or?
Not now.
Yeah.
It was, but not now.
Okay.
But when I was a kid painting and being a waitress at Figaro and whatnot, I would sell out on the streets, and people would buy my paintings in Greenwich Village on the streets.
Wow.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah. Well, you've had an amazing life, and we've only
Amazing life.
scratched the surface.
My boyfriend in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was Bob Dylan. Now, how do you beat that?
That's the picture. 70s, 80s, and 90s. Really?
Let's just say we kept meeting up
Oh.
over a period of 30 years.
Yeah. Like a Rolling Stone. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the picture I saw. I had seen a picture of you years ago from Bob
Rolling
Dylan.
Stone.
Yeah,
Bob
that's
was the one that told me, be a workaholic, and it really stuck.
Yeah.
You notice, if you observe him at all, he's in a different city within every 2 days doing another concert. And he's 77, he's my age, and he never stops. And so he taught me to never stop. Just keep going.
You went out with Bob DeNiro and Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Any other Bobs we should know?
I have to think about that. I have good taste in men, though.
No, apparently. No, everyone. I love seeing you again.
Thank
and
you,
we do have to give the awards, but it's been such a treat to have you here, and it's just a pleasure to see you again. Oh my God. Sally Kirkland. Well, that was pretty good. Oh my God, Sally, come back up here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
That's okay.
I have something for you.
I figured you gave it to me with the...
No. It's just, here, hold that. So, it's this lovely thing that is, it's heavy. You can even use this as a murder weapon if you ever want to. It says, Sally Kirkland, in recognition of the dedication to your craft and outstanding artistic talent, we are honored to present you with the Studio City Film Festival Lifetime Achievement Award, November 15th.
I plan to be doing this until I'm 104.